Hold on. Case openings? Case openings? Wait.
Ton of money from
is that
hold on, it's my closing
they
thought.
actually everyone's saying they ran out of 3 because they feel it's profitable.
Yo, welcome back to the Catalyst Effect podcast. This is episode 20. I'm your boys, Klaus. As always, with me is Missy and Crypto Hado, my co-hosts. And today we have Justin Lucas from One Labs. How are you, Justin? Welcome to the show, man. Thank you so much for being here with us.
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me on. Love the opening. Love how much fun you guys have on this show. Like it's awesome.
It's always a fun time, man. I think one of my favorite things about this show in particular that we have is that we kind of get to lay back a little bit, have a fun conversation with some cool people, get to know them a little bit more personally, and just, like inform people and educate people in Web3, which is something that we still need a lot of. We still need that major education curve to kind of like get a little bit more straight. So it's a lot easier for people and it's a lot more friendlier. So I always enjoy in particular this show because we get to like just do one-on-one conversations and just kind of like cash up.
That's awesome.
Yes sir. Right off the bat, I do see some friendly faces on the chat. I see Jackie. She's always here, number one, always first. Thank you so much for always hanging out with us. We have
What's up, Jackie?
Yes sir. We always got to give her a shout out, man. She's across all of our shows, so that's awesome. JRP is also in here. He's saying sick background. You already know we had to come in with the rebrand, baby. We are close to finishing season 2, so we got to gear up for season 3 of the Catalyst Effect, man. It's crazy how quickly time goes by. But I also see who else? Sir Sapien in here. Sir Sapien made it. What is up?
JRP,
And
let's go.
Yes sir. And all the other viewers are still watching.
Boys.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're gonna have some fun today. Damien's also in the chat. Make sure you guys are dropping comments, guys. We love to call them out. We also may handpick some people and do a little giveaway. We do have some fake friends from our friends at Socials Risings that we can give out. So we'll always be on the lookout for that. So go crazy in the comments, say what's up, and yeah, man, let's get into it. Justin, I always like to throw it back to the guests in the beginning, but this time I want to do a little bit different. I always ask the guests, hey, like kind of like, what is your background, right? But I kind of want to throw an odd question at you, right? And it's something that I heard in a podcast a long time ago, but I haven't really heard it much in the space. And that question is, if somebody new kind of came across you, right, and tried to know the type of work you're doing with One Labs, right? But their question was, hey, Justin, who are you today? What would you say?
Oh man, that's a fantastic question. So I mean, we're still in stealth, right? So we've been hinting, teasing, talking about what we're building, but I think that probably the easiest way to describe what we're building is think of it as like a decentralized Rosetta Stone for everyone that's into Web3 gaming, everyone that's into gaming to learn about great Web3 games that are coming out in a way that doesn't require, $1,000 NFT to get access. That doesn't require you to, grind a whitelist spot. Doesn't require you to go, be a Twitter follower or Discord joiner to get, that user into the space. And so it's kind of twofold. It's one, coming from a gamer perspective, where can I go as a gamer to learn about the great games in the space? We've all seen what the Twitter algorithm has done to smaller studios in the space and how hard it is to break through that noise and get noticed. And then on the studio side, how can I work directly with you to help incentivize getting gamers actually into your game? I understand the vanity metric play of follow us on Twitter, join our Discord, that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, that doesn't get gamers into your game. It doesn't get them playing. And so what our platform does is it facilitates via assimilation, it facilitates getting the user actually in playing via an incentive. And then down the road, working with those publishers, look at their entire funnel and say, okay, there's a churn point between a user getting from level 3 to level 4, and now we set an item that says, hey, get to level 4, get this badass sword that you can only get via our platform, and it helps fix the funnel for publishers. So it's studio centric, and it's also gamer centric, and so it helps incentivize and align those incentives between both, so that studios are now going to get more gamers. Gamers are going to have a lot more games to play, and they're going to be incentivized with the cool exclusive content to get into those games and get deep into those games, instead of just, join Twitter,
Yeah.
whitelisted, flip it on OpenSea 5 minutes after you get it, and then you're on to the next thing, and you never go back and actually play that game.
Yeah, dude. First of all, I love that answer, right? I think there's still a level of scatteredness in Web3, right, that we need to fix. And I love platforms that are kind of figuring out how to implement everything into one platform, right? It's like, here you go, you have everything. And like what you're saying is so true, right? Like, not only is it one here in one place, but get your hands into it, right? Like, start playing these titles by, like what you mentioned, some type of incentive, right? If you play this title, you would get XYZ, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. I agree with your point of like saying like not just join our Twitter or Discord, because at the end of the day, that gets users closer to your community, right? And your product, but it doesn't get their hands into the product, like you're saying, right? Like if I join a Discord, I have to go the extra steps and look for the official links, hope those are the official links, and I'm not getting like some type of like, virus or something,
Right.
and to go through that process, versus if I just go to your platform and it's an easy login, first of all, right? It's an easy process to make an account, and as soon as I make it, I see this amazing information and this awesome UX, and it's easy to navigate, right? I'm immediately having a great experience, right? So
Yeah.
my first impression of if I'm a newcomer to Web3, it's already awesome right off the bat, right? Because it's coming up with a great experience. But Hado, Missy, do you guys have anything you want to add here?
I mean, I think this stuff is going to be integral to, pushing the space forward. And, I like the Rosetta Stone comparison, because that's really unique. I know a lot of people would see one can and maybe say it's like a launcher, but I think you did a good job at describing what the difference is. And I would like to hear you even dig into that more, and how is it different from like a traditional launcher?
Right. Well, a traditional launcher, right, is a bunch of games, and it's, there isn't really any incentive to actually get into those games. There isn't, it just serves the function of launching the game, and it gives you that level of trust and, the warm and fuzzies that, you're not downloading an executable that might have God knows what else added to it. And there's that level of safety and security. And we work with all the different launchers, whether it's Elixir, Hyperplay, you name it.
Epic. Yeah.
We've got studios that are driving directly to those launchers from within our platform. And with our very easy to implement API, you could be on mobile, you could be on any launcher that you want. You could be a self-sustaining executable with your own launcher. It doesn't matter. It's one single API call. It's very easy for studios to implement, and it makes it a lot of fun too, to kind of come up with the ideas of what's gonna be that sweet spot for a gamer. For me, I like cool stuff that I can't get anywhere else, and so that's kind of where we look at as a lens of what the offer should be. And then, we also work with the studios to look at, does it need to be on chain? Does it need to be off chain? Does it need to be something that, I hate freeloaders. So I always really encourage my studios to think about like, how deep into the game do you want them to actually get, so that you have a warm feeling that these are now a gamer within your ecosystem. And so we work really closely to make sure that it's post Fatui, so that you've got experience playing the game, you've been kind of instructed how the game works, how it plays, and now you've got a really cool item that you can take into battle or into the game and give you a little bit of a leg up without greatly impacting the economy, without greatly impacting current users that are in there.
Yeah, no, dude, I totally agree. I totally agree. And with that in mind, I wanted to ask you, Justin, like beyond like gaming projects and networks that you guys are working with and partnering with, right? Or like incubating, right?
Yeah.
Are there any plans for like community partnerships as well with OneKin, right? Like I know a lot of the big things in Web3 for a lot of communities in Web3, they love to do like experiences, right? Like I think a lot of people are here for like really dope experiences, right? Like within
Yeah.
gaming. So they look at things like community tournaments or events. Is there any plans for you guys to attack like community partnerships to offer that?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. We'll probably get into it later, but I'm old. I've been around in gaming for 25 years now. Like, when I was coming up, we had print magazines, publications, EGM, Gamers Republic, Game Fan, and that's how I learned about what great games were coming out. That's how I learned about where I should be investing my time, effort, and energy into. And there isn't that capability within Web3. And I look at you guys as content creators as the new editorial. You guys are the new, EGMs and Gamers Republic and Game Informers. You guys are the ones that are playing these games. You guys are the ones that are giving your opinions. You guys are the ones that are the tastemakers within this space. And so, not only that, but you guys are gamers too, which is awesome. Like, I watch as many different content creators as I possibly can because, I'm working all day long. I don't know what's coming out in the space. And, I try and spend about an hour every day on Twitter just seeing who's announcing a new title so that I can go reach out to them and see how I can help them. Working with our biz dev team to make sure that, we're staying in contact with all the different games that are in, every single different phase of development from, crafting in GDD to, an early alpha to all the way through, people that are launching currently, like Call of the Void, which is a fantastic little top-down shooter that I've been playing a ton of lately. So it's I love working with the different communities. I think what you guys are doing in this space is incredibly special and very valuable. And then members of our team, we've got Matt Marcoux, who was the former commissioner of Madden. He set up Riot's League Championship Series. Dude loves running tournaments. And so, yes, tournaments, experiences, those types of capabilities are all something that are on our roadmap.
Hell yeah, dude. I love that you guys are thinking of attacking all the different sectors, right? Because, and also one thing that you mentioned that I kind of wanted to circle back around.
Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Let me get some retweets, and comments for a chance to win a Social Rising Fake Friends NFT. And
Yes, sir.
And then Clouds, go say your piece, and then I want to put my boy Justin on the spot real quick. I want to ask him a quick.
Ooh, okay. I'll be quick. I promise. I'll be quick. I want to hear this. But yeah, guys, make sure you guys are liking, retweeting, commenting for that Social Rising Fake Friends. We'll do a wheel of name at the end of the podcast, and we'll pick somebody out from the comments. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for being here with us, with Justin, learning about OneKin. But what I wanted to circle back around real quick, Justin, you mentioned like, how you try to watch as many creators as possible, reach out to anybody that has kind of like gotten a new title or like something like that to try to like help them out and stuff. And I wanted to touch on that a little bit because my experience here in Web3 has been very positive in that sense, right? I feel like the Web3 gaming community is one that is always trying to help each other for the most part, right? Like, I'm not saying there's not some bad actors out there that are doing, scummy stuff, like by trying to scam people and stuff like that. But the good actors, right? I feel like the community really pushes each other, really tries to help one another and like kind of like grow together type of thing, right? In the traditional gaming world, I can't say I had ever had that experience, right? Like I was part of the startup traditional gaming world, and it's like a shark infested water type of thing, right? Everybody's trying to eat each other. Everybody's trying to like how can I make sure that guy doesn't get ahead of me, right?
Yeah,
Like that's the type of mentality there. So I feel like that's something that we have very special here. And at least for us in
100%.
Catalyst, yeah, and at least for us in Catalyst, our focus has always been okay, since we have that really special bond of being such a positive minded community, right? Let's start building among that culture and bringing the culture of traditional gaming into this world, right? And continuing like to basically express that across our ecosystem and our environment, right? Because that is one part that I feel like was missing in Web3. It was the culture part, right? Like the cultural part of gaming. And like, yo, like there's more, like we love making money through these games, but at the end of the day, gaming is all about entertainment, right? Like we play for the joy of being entertained, feeling some type of nostalgia feeling, and just enjoyment overall, right? Like having some way of like releasing some stress or something.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
And I can tell you, like, I mean, within Web2 gaming, like I worked within a subset of Web2 gaming in like localizing stuff coming from Japan. So like when I was at Working Designs or Enix or Bandai Namco, you know, a lot of times, you know, when stuff was coming out from Japan, we'd all be fighting over like trying to get the same title under our publishing umbrella to bring to the US. And, you know, I might have friends at Capcom or Axis or Atlas or, you know, other small publishers, Natsume, Koei, but we're all fighting over the same titles. And you would get pissed if somebody else got, you know, that title that you like, you know, that you had spent time like putting together like, you know, documentation internally to make a pitch to try and license that title for the US market. And
yeah, man.
your friend might be over there and, you know, you're still friends with your boy, but at the end of the day, you're like, God damn it, I really wanted to do that title.
Yeah, it's a
But
lot harder to
Web3
say
is super.
congratulations, good job killing that. You know, it's a lot harder to say it like because you know how much you like you're saying, you put the effort. And I feel like right now in Web3 opportunities are coming a lot more often than they would in the traditional gaming world, right? So like
It's so much more collaborative. Like
yeah,
it's not competitive at all. Everyone wants to see each other win. Everyone wants to help. Everyone wants to, you know, jump on a call. Everyone wants to jump on a space with each other. It is fantastic. And it's so, it keeps you charged on days where like, you know, the shit hits the fan and you're just like, you know,
yeah.
pulling your hair out because something isn't working right or you can't find the right sentence to link two paragraphs in a press release. And, you know, but you can jump on Twitter real quick and see, you know, Mizzy interacting with, you know, somebody in the space or jump on a space real quick and listen to, you know, a group of different studios all talking about how they're building together. So
It's also super early and the community is super small. But even though it's small, like our inner circle might be small, but there's a big world out there that we haven't even touched yet, right? There's so many different regions that are like they have like their small pockets of like small audiences. So it's really interesting to see this like kind of grow in real time.
yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, we're gonna throw it to Missy. He said he
Yeah,
wanted to put Justin on the spot. Let's hear it, man.
the collaborative aspect of Web3, I love it because it reminds me of streetwear, and you know that's kind of where I'm comfortable. Like in streetwear, we do a lot of I'm not in it anymore, but we did a lot of collabs, and you know that was the culture there, and that's what made those special moments. And like,
Yeah.
it's something that I love about this space because it has a very like punk streetwear energy to it, and it makes me feel at home. The question I wanted to ask you is, you know, you mentioned that as soon as you see a game, you start trying to link up with them. Obviously, like a good quality game, you try to link up with them. You try to see how one can get involved. Give me a top 3 list, man. Which were the top 3? What's your top 3 of people to work with, people to communicate with, like favorite teams? You know,
Yeah.
we won't tell anybody.
You know, I've got like, I think I'm at like 80 partners that I've got signed right now. So it's like trying to pick which one of my 2 daughters I like the most, right? But I can tell you, like, you know, Sinjin at My Angry Yakuza Girlfriend, I love that dude to death. I think he's really onto something. I think the game and the team that he's assembled is just top notch. I mentioned Call of the Void earlier. Really like that team. Really like what they're, you know, it's just a fun game. And at the end of the day, like gameplay is always my North Star. If the game is fun, everything else takes care of itself. Who else? Jerry's my boy Fresco. He's now over at My Angry Yakuza Girlfriend. I worked really closely with him when I was at Metalcore. Who else? The team over at Avagachi. The team over at Aurori. Block Lords. Love those guys to death.
All right. We got a solid few.
Yeah. And then God, who else is? And then my own team, obviously. Like I'm really, really blessed to have a group of engineers that are just, I'm in awe of what they're able to accomplish on a daily basis, and the team that I've got around me.
I love that
That's
answer,
awesome.
man. And you named, shout out to my boy Sinjin. We're real close with Meiji. We love them over there. So
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know about it because we don't brag, but that recent guide that they released, with all the cool luxury art, we actually did that on our team.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we collaborated with them and we helped them roll it out quietly, stealthily. But it was a very cool experience, and anytime I get to work with Sinjin, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, he is such a down to earth, just like, if you haven't heard Sinjin talk about building a game, like it's like a Walt Whitman poem to like gaming. Like it is just the passion that dude has is so contagious. It is like I would listen to him, talking about building games through like a $7 Radio Shack walkie-talkie.
Yo,
I absolutely love
he would do the
Busy
interview
does.
too.
He would.
Yeah, he would. Sinjin is the goat of goats, man. The man is always a great conversation with him, So definitely, if you haven't heard him speak, just join one of the Gamify spaces or any spaces. Really, he's in everywhere. He's in every single one of them. Like,
Hado, what were you gonna
Sinjin-
say, bro?
I was gonna say I like when you do the impressions of Sinjin.
Oh
The
yeah,
Oh
best
yeah.
one.
yeah. I love impersonating.
when he likes to tell us about his earlier days when he was younger and taking like 700
yeah.
flights in a day.
Guys, back when I was at PokerStars, I went out to a bar in Hong Kong. I found a couple of pretty girls, and they were taller than me, but I don't give a fuck because I bring that energy. I could be anybody's ass. And I asked them if they wanted a drink. And, these wonderful ladies, they were alpha women. And we ended up going together. And they helped me close the deal to legalize poker in Hong Kong. So that's how that started. And that's why I'm ready to lead the movement in, gray area industries. Because I've been there. I've done that. Ginger boy.
It's almost exactly spot on.
It was great.
Nah, but
what is it that you always like to say? I can impersonate him because I'm like something Korean, like a certain percentage.
Bro, yeah, because
Korean.
I'm part Korean. I smoke a lot, So I'm just not. I'm not there in age yet, so I don't have like as much of the rasp yet. But I'll be there by the time I'm like 40.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's hilarious, man. That's hilarious. Well, anyways, thank you so much once again to all the listeners that have been hanging out with us, guys. Keep it up. We see some more comments coming in with Meatprox saying, Sinjin is him, the GOAT. Absolutely, I agree with you, Meatprox. Thank you so much for stopping by, man, and being here with us. But Justin, let's get back to the conversation about Onekin real quick. Can you give us a little bit more of like a step-by-step guide on like how the onboarding process works exactly for like a project, right? Like, let's say we were making a game.
Yeah.
We are in conversations to get onboarded into the Onekin platform, right? How does that process look like? And then after that, follow it up with how many games do you guys have currently in the platform already incubated, if that's something that you can.
So it's pretty simple. I mean, we sit down, we talk, we discuss, how many users are going to be beneficial to you at a monthly basis. And then we kind of structure the deal around how many users you want to get on a monthly basis. And then it's one single API call. I mean, there's, I think, 5 different things that you need. Your collectible ID, your account. We generate all the codes for you. So all you have to do is build in a redemption module within your game where they plug in that code, that API call fires, hits our endpoint. It's either 200 success or 400, which is not success. And then you either give the user that item at that point in time or you don't. And then we work really closely with the studio, make sure that we take a lot of the best practices I've learned over the years working, either directly with on the console side for digital or Apple, Amazon, and Google with the mobile stores, in laying out like, okay, what does your general description look like within our platform? The redemption steps, how easy is it? How I go through each and every single studio's title. I claim a code. I play user X and I try and, be the person that tries to break it and screw it up and help the studios in that form, and which is super helpful because at the end of the day, like, we're so down in the weeds as at a studio level that sometimes we don't think about like the end user, that flow, that funnel that's going to get them to click a link, copy a code, redeem, and sometimes we just overcomplicate stuff for no reason whatsoever. So I really, that acronym, keep it simple, stupid, like, just
True.
get the users in. Like, don't make them join your Discord, wait 24 hours for the server to update, to link, to take them through a fatui that, is super difficult, to then go redeem the code, and now you're like 3 days later, you're able to get the item. So like, let's focus on getting them in quickly. Let's focus on assimilating them in, and removing all those friction layers that sometimes we just overcomplicate for no reason whatsoever. And then, on the back end side, we've got the analytics, and we look at the conversion rate from people claiming the code to the code actually being redeemed. And then we look at, okay, is it a good percent or is it a bad percent? And if it's a bad percent, let's sit down together and let's figure it out. Let's fix it. Let's make it easier, quicker, cleaner, better, faster, stronger for users. As far as number of studios that we've got signed right now, we're either right at 80 or just a hair above 80 different game studios that are signed. We'll be launching somewhere between 25 and 30 on the platform when we launch. And then the goal is to have at least one new game every Wednesday dropping going forward. We've got a list of, I think the last time I looked, it was like 600 other games that we're in some form of discussion with. Obviously not all of them are still building, but we do our best to try and stay in touch with them. A lot of them are very early in building and won't be ready till 2020, late 2025. Some of them are ready to go if we launch tomorrow. They're set,
Right.
And they've already built out their page on our platform. They've already tested. They're ready to go.
So you say 600 titles. That's a lot of titles, man. Like, and I understand completely what you're saying, right? Different stages of development. We all get that, right? But still, I don't think a lot of people are aware of how many. Now, when you say 600, are you guys, is this only Web3 titles?
Yeah,
Or is this,
that's just strictly Web3.
that's crazy, man. I don't think a lot of people realize how many titles there really is out there, right? And obviously, one of the questions I wanted to ask you, because I saw you guys have also games like Avagashi, stuff like that. But then you also have games like the Bornless and Aurori, right? Like, what would you say one can is focusing the most? Is it like mobile games with indie studios, or more like AAA studios, or kind of like a combination of everything?
I want it all. Like, I want because some of the best games I've ever played in my life were like indie games, or made by people with like that indie ethos, right? But I also have a massive appreciation for like, the big budget AAA blockbusters. There's I think there's room in gaming for all different genres. That's one of the things as I lead the ecosystem and growth is looking at, okay, what genres do I have? Where do I have a hole missing? Whereas, I kind of look at it as like launching a console platform, right? Like, Sony has to make sure, okay, our launch titles are X, Y, and Z, or fit within this framework. So we've got to have, our sports games, we've got to have our racing games, we've got to have our, hardcore RPGs, and we've got to have, some kind of casual platform type stuff. And so I look at it through that lens of like, I want to have all the different sports
Diversity.
games.
Yeah.
I want to have a massive diversity, because everyone that's going to be coming into the platform, everyone's not a first person shooter fan. Everyone's not a MOBA fan. Everyone's not an RPG fan.
Yeah.
And so I want to have something for everyone to get them in. And to your point earlier, like, be that like battle buddy for them and kind of help them, nurture them through the Web3 ecosystem and show them how easy it should be to get into games, as opposed to kind of that frictionful, which wallet are you going to be on, download, connect your account, connect your wallet. Everyone should be in our, I totally agreed. Everyone should be in our,
I have to bring that up real quick.
yeah.
I mean, come on. It's like the perfect fucking genre for Web3. All right, continue.
Totally agree there. But yeah, I want to see everything, on our platform, from the AAA blockbuster to the small 3-man indie team that are, doing this out of their garage. And we work with, everyone in between. And we do it, pretty, I think we do a pretty darn good job of, keeping up with everyone, helping them through every step of the process.
Yeah, man. First of all, I love that answer, and I love that you guys are going for such a diverse, pool of games, right, and different genres of games. Because I agree with you, not everyone is a fan of the same type of genre. And the reason I asked about the indie game, I do feel like Web3 communities have this big fandom towards indie developing teams and indie games, and I feel a lot of it comes because you can deliver a lot quicker, right, than a triple A title or something like that. Like, seems like more updates come quicker, they get developed a lot quicker, right? The experience is there, so people, and they're getting a lot better, right? Those indie experiences are getting way better, especially with all the AI tools that we have now. All the UGC map building, like Unreal Engine and stuff like that. So there's a lot of tools now that developers can use at their disposal to make great experiences, and it doesn't have to take something like 10 years or 5 years to develop, right? So
building any game is hard, just straight up. Whether, like, I mean, you could be localizing a Super Nintendo RPG right now for, some ROM hack. It's hard. You could be making a mobile game. It's hard. Building a AAA, experience. It's hard. It's not an easy process. If it was easy, everyone would do it. But it's just not the case. And so, there's some fantastic teams building in this space. There's some fantastic games coming, that, just be patient. I love how involved the community gets in this, but, let builders build, and, when the time is right to release that alpha, they'll drop it. Like, when that time is right to bring users in, they'll get you in, like, but it's a hard game, no pun intended, to play, making games in this space.
Shout out to the boy Icy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Appreciate the flowers, brother. And apparently Icy wants a hoodie. Let builders build. We got to hook our boy up with some swag, apparently, from One King Swag. And yeah, honestly, I'm personally very bullish on indie development in Web3 because of just how the business is different, right? Like the lifetime value of a user in Web3 is going to be drastically different from what we've ever seen before, I would assume. Just on some metrics that I've seen around, and the average revenue per user, I think it's going to be a lot more conducive to like indie developments and people being able to build out a type of game that they wouldn't have been able to build out in Web 2 because they'll find other ways to monetize outside of just people buying the game and keeping the lights on that way. I see a lot of potential for like this whole ecosystem of games that average like 10 to 15,000 users and seeing like little tribes be built out in Web3 that way. It's something that I at least hope to see it, because I think it would make for like a renaissance period of gaming. I think it would be really sick.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I agree, man. And look, a good perfect example is that game Only Up, right? And I know it's not really a Web3 game or anything like that, although they did incorporate some IP with the Goblin Town, right? Like the hoodie and all that stuff they did. But it was a very simple concept to a game, right? With really nice visuals, right? And people freaking went ballistic over it, right? Like the game had like I don't even know how many users in one day, it was crazy. So and a lot of content came out of it, right? So like that shows that really it's just all about the experience that you're providing rather than like the actual I don't want to say the actual concept of the game, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like people care more about the experience they're going to have inside the product rather than the way it's going to look or like how long it took, or like users unfortunately don't care about that stuff.
Yeah,
And I love like saying like let the builders build. I completely get that and I'm behind that, but most users, like gamers, they're just like, I just want to play the game, dude, and I want to have fun, and if you don't provide that, I'm moving on to the next thing that's going to provide that, right?
Which is why I like what Justin said earlier, is that you guys are focusing on like kind of quality assurance and making sure that the process to get into games are streamlined and good. Because I know for our own example, Cade had problems trying to get into a certain game and he just quit. He just rage quit. And if you think they do that at Web 2, because they do that at Web 2, by the way, like if it's
that's because Cade's mid at RPGs and he sucks and he just wanted an excuse. But yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you right there, but it just highlights my point that if there's any kind of resistance point where you're trying to get people in the door and they see it's like too difficult, even though it's really not that difficult, it's just like you're right there. It's like you're digging for diamonds, but you give up too early, but it's like right there. Those are the kind of hurdles that can turn off gamers and go from a potential user that's probably going to be buying everything to I'm going to go back to Fortnite or whatever.
Yeah, actually, I have a follow-up with that point, but before I do that, I do want to shout out Icy saying I still see Only Up style maps in Fortnite and other games all the time. That's so true, man. Like again, it brought back up some type of popularization in the experience that people were having, right? Like a challenge game with like puzzles, right? Because not all the floor pieces were actually real and you could fold that way too. So it got people really like that raging type of content where people are just really frustrated and they want to beat this thing, right? Like that's what it brought. And as soon as you open up like map creation, like UEFN, right? Like all those type of things, people are going to recreate those experiences. I mean, we've been seeing this in traditional gaming since like the dawn of time, right? Like Halo was my first experience with something like that, right? Where people started creating their own game modes and stuff like that. And people were having more fun in custom made maps than they were in actual multiplayer maps, right? So again, it's all about the experience you create inside the product.
Only Up is like the new Endless Runner. Like I didn't think it was gonna be. Obviously, it's a completely different style, but I didn't think it was gonna be something that was actually popular. And then just seeing people go crazy with this concept of like, how high can you go? Essentially, it's like the new Endless Runner, and like very puzzle oriented, and it's been cool to see like almost a new genre be born.
Oh, are you talking about like Temple Run, like that kind of game?
Just in
like
general,
endless
like,
runner or like endless climber.
Just the way that the endless runner, like, and when you think of an endless runner, it's such a weird genre, but like it has such a strong fandom, right? Like, like my nephew has been playing Sonic every day for 3 years.
Yeah.
So like that kid is like he has a Sonic YouTube channel. Like this dude is committed.
Yeah. Imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, right? Like, we've seen that over the history of gaming where, if it wasn't for, Super Mario Brothers, right? We don't get that lineage all the way down to like Metroid and Castlevania and Blaster Master and these other great side-scrolling experiences. And if we don't have, I'm trying to think of, Doom and Duke Nukem, we don't get to Quake and we don't get to other first-person shooters. And so you see that all the time within gaming where whatever is working and is successful, studios will try and find ways to implement that because they know it's such a great way to bring users in by, being able to build, 10 times higher than any Fortnite map in this game, or 10x bigger bosses, et cetera, et cetera. And like you even see that now with like a lot of games are taking that that Souls approach that From Software is kind of perfected with, you know, making people rage quit when they try and fight bosses, right? Like, but From Software has been doing that all the way back to like the Kingsfield days and the old Armored Core days of, you know, PS1, where those games were hard as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Justin's flexing his like fucking OG status on everybody right now.
Just to jump in on that trend too, Helldivers 2 came out, and it reminds me of Destiny in a way, but
it's literally Battlefront, bro.
I know it's like it's expansive, like expanding, like the characters look like Destiny, the gameplay is like Battlefront. It came from a top-down shooter from the first iteration of the game, and now it's like this third-person shooter game. So it's really cool, like how games find, even Power World, right? Like Power World is another example of like, you know, taking a very similar game loop and making it your own kind of.
But again, it's that experience again, bro. Like in Power, right? Like, okay, people are gonna argue, okay, it's just a copycat of like Pokemon or some other type of like Monster Hunter type of game, right? But the difference is in Power, you can pick up the freaking monsters and use them as the weapons. I mean, when have you ever gotten to do that in one of those styles of games, right? Like I can pick up a Firefox and just squeeze him, and it's like a flamethrower. Like that's freaking funny, you know? And to Missy's point, and this is kind of like how I wanted to end this topic and then go back a little bit more into Onekin. But with Only Up, right? Like the fandom around it is what made it really popular. If all of those traditional streamers, right, wouldn't have streamed that game and made it like the content funny, the game wouldn't have reached the you know, hype level that it had, right? Like at that moment, right? When you saw like I don't know, Tim the Tatman, Courage JD, all of those people playing this game, and they're playing it week after week after week, trying to beat it, right? And then they finally get to the end. They're celebrating after all the freaking times they fell down, you know? And on top of that, you're adding a bunch of Easter eggs into the game, right? Like at one point, I saw Bryson fall from a tower and he landed on top of a freaking snow globe. And then he had his editor kind of edit in like Christmas music and like snow falling and stuff like that. That type of experience for me as a viewer is enough for me to stay glued to the screen watching this game or watching somebody play it. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah, and it goes back to the point. Gameplay is the North Star, right? Like if I'm watching you guys play something and you guys are having a freaking blast playing it, like, and that comes through the screen on watching you guys, like,
yep.
I'm gonna be either one, I'm gonna be sitting there watching you guys play it, or two, I'm gonna go download it so I can have fun too. And that kind of goes back to that point of content creators being the new editorial especially within Web3, but even, you know, across all of gaming now, with there being so few gaming publications out there for somebody to do research on. That's where I learned about most of my games, is by watching you guys and seeing what you guys are playing. That's how I learned about like Storm Warfare, right? Was like seeing people playing. I was like, oh my God, like I need to play this.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree with that point. I think we saw that early on, at least with our experience, right? Like we saw it with like a game like Magic Craft, right? I mean, what's the difference of playing Magic Craft and me loading up into League right now and having a game in there, right? Like not much, but the difference was that I saw my friends having. I'm not gonna get specific into the mechanics, but you get what I'm saying, how to, right? Like similar roles, similar like type of styles, like lanes and stuff like that, right? But the difference was that I saw all my friends fucking having fun inside this game, right? And like having a blast. So that, you know, obviously, like I'm talking about from your point's perspective, because that happened. You guys watched me play it, and we all kind of were like, yo, we want to play this together, right? Like, let's fucking hop in there. And that's the type of experience we need to create in Web3. We need more of that, right? That's how we really bring people over to try these games. But I want to kick it back to the platform real quick.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about the onboarding process. We talked a little bit about how easy you guys make it for users to navigate within the platform and really have a diverse pool of games to play and test out and just kind of get their hands on. I wanted to talk a little bit about what are your goals and your vision to try to bridge over more Web2 users into Web3 games. Are you guys aiming more towards like natural discoverability for the Web3 tools, like the blockchain side of it, right? Like, for example, because you mentioned a game like Meiji, right?
Yeah.
They have a great economy model, right?
Yeah.
But not all users like want to want to be a part of that economy model, right? And we talk a lot about natural discoverability, but I also feel like a so intense economy model like that requires some level of education. So do you guys have some plan to kind of like connect two worlds together, or like lead people to that educational level?
Yeah. So, at a certain level, each game is different, right? And each game has either, an economic model or something like that that needs to be taken into account. And so we work really closely with the studios in making sure that whatever that item or offer is, that item that's on our platform, doesn't break the economy. Like, the last thing I want to do is, encourage a studio to destroy what they built, essentially, by giving something away free that either pisses off their existing customers or pisses off, people as they try to get it. So there's that aspect of it. There's the other aspect too of trying to obfuscate kind of a lot of the Web3 experience, so that you just need a OneKin account. We're working on an SDK right now to where a studio can just instrument that. You can log in with your OneKin account. It automatically reads what's in your backpack on our platform, and then it's there for you in the game. And that also offers up a lot of other exciting opportunities, because now publishers will know, oh, they've got this in their backpack, or they've got this from another game. Maybe I can go to them and say, hey, looking at a big picture level, there's a massive crossover of this game and this game. So let's get us all together in a room and let's figure out how we can start solving that story of interoperability, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think everyone's always looked at it from the wrong angle of, EA is never going to give Ubisoft their character rigging models, right? Like, that's never going to happen. But if I allow one title to read the NFT, and I don't need to take my Block Lord's character into Meiji, but maybe there's something there that can offer a cool experience because you own X. It's now in available in a way in Y that isn't going to break either game, but is going to just add more functionality or utility to you as the end user.
Dude,
So,
I can I jump in real quick with that
Yeah.
point of interoperability, because I love that you brought that up, right? Like, I think there's a big misconception when it comes to that people expect games to just give other developers their assets, and here you go, you can implement that now in this game and take all my users to just your platform. It doesn't need to be to that level. It can just be an easy integration of, like, maybe I have like that cool sword from a game, right? And I want to show it in my other game. It could just maybe be a little figurine on the
Yeah.
other game. It could be a painting. It could be so many other things. It doesn't actually need to be a usable asset. It
Yep.
can be more like some form of recognizing that you had that item from another game that you love. And
It's
you
a
see it
great way
in
to flex
yeah.
on your buddies, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
and
It's like, where
especially
did that
for, like,
come from? How do you have that? Yeah.
exactly. And that's like for like content creators, right? Like, that's a cool thing for you guys to show off on stream, is some kind of cool exclusive item that you couldn't get anywhere else other than, OneKin. So,
Yeah.
that's one of the cool things that we're working on the back end. But to your point of, like, the educational aspect of getting gamers into each one of these different games is really, it's an interesting kind of way of looking at things, right? Like, I've gone to PAX and I've gone to TwitchCon with the Web3 game, and expected to be pitchforks and tar and feather and you're killing gaming, but it wasn't like that at all. And I think a lot of people just had the simple question of, like, tell me about Web3. Like, why are you putting Web3 into this game? And sitting down and using something as a frame of reference that everyone gets. Like, my go-to for, like, explaining to anyone, like, is Pokemon Go, right? Like, what if you could take that shiny Pikachu that you got at that event that your friend couldn't either capture, or they were out and couldn't take part in that event? What if you could sell that to your friend for like $1, right? Like, you don't have to use like six figures to kind of explain Web3, but just what if you could sell it for $1? Like, I mean, and your friend could have that shiny Pikachu that you have 3 of from that event. Like, and then it starts making sense to people that they actually own the gaming assets that they've either crafted, created, captured, whatever. And it starts unlocking those gears for them of like, I should own, you know, the set pieces that I have for my character in Diablo. Like that, I worked my ass off to get
That's
those. Like
right.
I
Tal
grinded.
Rajah would be at least like fucking 2-3 racks.
Yeah. Um, so so that's my go-to personally. What I use to explain to people when they ask me like, you know, don't you think Web3 is going to destroy gaming? No, I don't at all. I think it's the next evolutionary step of gaming.
Yeah.
I've been around. I've seen all the boogeymen over the years, right? Like when Sony and Sega Saturn, like, oh, CDs are gonna kill gaming because it's a fixed medium, and then it was after that it was oh, Sony's gonna kill gaming because of they're just gonna be focused on FMV type games, and then it was PSN and Xbox Live, they're going to kill gaming because physical copies are going to go away. Mobile, like, oh, we're going to be microtransaction to death. It's going to be a horrible gaming experience having to pay 25 cents every time I die. So I've seen all those. Like, this is just people reluctant and resistant to change, and I think once some really great games come out that show off really cool ways to instrument Web3 as opposed to just slapping Web3 in just because it's the new hotness. I think it'll definitely help with assimilating users into the Web3 ecosystem.
Yeah,
Man, I have to
man.
say,
I go
oh, go
ahead,
ahead,
bro.
Mister. No, go ahead, go ahead. I've been
I
talking a lot.
actually pulled up an article from like way back in the day, and the way that they talked about consoles and how it was going to destroy gaming and how arcade was like the only way to game sounded exactly the same way that everyone talked about blockchain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cost is too high. We're used to playing a quarter. Like I pulled up this super like OG article and I showed it to, a couple of my web normie friends and they were like, that's stupid. And I was like, yeah, well, this is what you sound like. And they're like, oh shit.
Yeah, history often repeats itself. They said the same thing about the internet, that no one's
mean,
going to use that. It's like, who's going to log on and do anything and conduct business? People do business face to face, and now everybody just like we're doing it on the internet right now. Like
at the end of the day, man, people are always going to find negatives when it comes to like change, right? Like whenever there's change in an environment, whenever there's a change of routine, a change of comfort level, right? You're going to start finding negatives to stay in that comfort level, right? But
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that change that's coming is going to be negative, right? Like it could be a very positive things for games. And I kind of, now that Justin gave us like his explanation on how he approaches people to explain Web3, I really, really like it because when you think about it, if you explain it to somebody with a really low value fraction, right? Like very like $1, right? It's so much easier for me to accept that information, right? Because the moment you tell me, well, wouldn't you like to sell that Call of Duty skin for like $700, right? I would be like, yeah, I would like to, but what if, right? It raises too many what if questions as
Yeah.
me as a new user, right? Trying to understand. Because I'll be like, well, what if the developing team comes after me because they own the licensing and they want a cut of it? And what do I do like for taxes? Like there's too
Right.
many what if questions, and then you already lost my interest of learning this new concept, right? Versus if you told me, well, if you sell it to one of your friends that doesn't have it for $1, isn't that a little bit more gratifying? Like you get some type of reward for the effort you put in, but you're also helping out your buddy for not like, you're not asking them for their mortgage type of thing. You're just asking for $1, right? So
Yeah.
that gets me to understand the concept of owning assets a lot simpler. And it doesn't raise a lot of what if questions in my head, right? So I think that's an approach that a lot of people should take on when they're trying to onboard more traditional gamers or people that are new to Web3. It's like, yeah, the whole point is asset ownership, right? Like that's what we want here. It not all assets need to be worth $1,000 or $500. Not all NFTs need to sell for that high, although people that are collectors and own those assets would surely appreciate it, right? If the value increases. But It doesn't need to start that way. We just want ownership of those assets. If I could own all my skin in Call of Duty from the moment I started playing and sell them all for $1, I will still make a lot of money. I would get more than what I pay for any game. You get me? Because I have thousands and thousands of them until they decided to like take them all away. Right. So
Right.
I completely stand behind your explanation of how to get users to understand the blockchain technology and just like Web3 gaming in general. Super cool, man. But listen, I've been loving this talk about OneCam, and I'm sure we can talk about many more things. You guys, I'm sure you guys have a lot of cool announcements coming up. So we'll be definitely keeping our ears and eyes open here in Catalyst, and checking out the platform as you guys add more games to it and more projects to it.
Absolutely.
I kind of wanted to kick it into another segment because we are a gaming show. So I wanted to throw in a little bit more of a gaming sector in here. But before we get into our sector game of the week, I did want to ask everyone, what is one title that's upcoming to Web3 or that you're about to try out that you haven't played before that you're super excited about? I'm going to start with Hado, then we'll walk around the panel and see what everybody has to say.
I hope Mizzy doesn't say this answer because I feel like I'm sniping it. But Night
Damn it,
Crows,
now I feel like you're going to take mine too.
Night Crows looks really cool.
Oh, Night Crows.
Ever since you guys kind of brought that to my attention, and I've been kind of counting the days on that. Not that I want to escape my current MMO grind, but having some variety in like the grinds that you do. This week I'm going to grind to level whatever on this game, right?
Yeah.
And then coming back to the next game. Okay, cool. They uploaded some new content, so it gives me a little bit of room to breathe. So that way I can kind of space out like how I can game. Because when you play a lot of these Web3 games, since they're so freaking early, a lot of the games don't have enough content. So I'm trying to space it out a bit. But yeah, Night Crows looks freaking awesome.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. Definitely having some time between your grinds is helpful to not get so like, like to a point where you feel like repetitive,
Burnt out, yeah.
But for any viewers that's just joining us and doesn't know what Night Crows is, that is a new MMORPG that's coming to the WeMix platform. Definitely check them out. If you're a fan of Mer 4 or any of the Mer games, you're probably going to enjoy this one. It's coming out, I believe, on the 12th. So definitely give them a check out and try to get your hands on it. But love that, Hado. That's a great answer. I'm going to move over to Justin. Justin, what is a game that you're looking forward to, man?
Oh, it's like making me choose which one of my kids I like the most. Man, I've been playing the hell out of Heroes of Mavia, Call of the Void, Shrapnel when they've been having their tests, Storm Warfare. I really dug that. Forest Knight. If you like old school tactical RPGs, kind of in that kind of like Final Fantasy Tactics or Vandal Hearts type of gameplay. I really dig that one. My Angry Yakuza Girlfriend, I'm a huge fan of that. What else? Yeah,
Man, you know too many titles. You know way too many titles. That's the problem. It's hard to decide when you know too many.
Well, and like I've got studios that are sending me like in development video, and I'm like, oh my god, that looks amazing! I can't wait to play it. And then I finally get to play it, and then another studio is sending me like an early rough cut of a trailer, and I'm like, oh my god, like just release it now, please. But yeah, I try and play everything that's on our platform. I try and play everything that I can get my hands on.
Dude, how do you like Gushy Guardians? Have you had the chance to play it yet?
Yeah.
How do you like it for a tower defense? I thought it was a great game. I thought it was really creative and fun.
Yeah, those guys are great builders. They just launched an iOS game called Licky's Revenge.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of the most cerebral puzzle platformer type games I've played in a long time. It uses magnetism. And it's just, my words are not going to do this game justice, but it is visually, it is just gorgeous. The gameplay is super addictive because it's just like any other type of puzzle game. Like you've got to be like quick in how you think about how you move and use the magnets to move the keys around to be captured. It is just that one is just, it's gorgeous. Like it's just a very if you guys have ever played the game Patapon, it was an old PSP game that was kind of rhythm based, like
Yes.
puzzle type game. Like the art, for some reason, like evokes that memory for me. And also kind of that cerebral, like how to play and beat each level. Really
Yeah, where
drives
you're
that.
really strategizing inside your mind, like to really
Yeah,
like know the
yeah,
best.
and the
I,
use of magnetism, right? Like I've never
Yep.
seen that used as a gameplay mechanic before. So like that's fascinating to me, like that they came up with this and how it works. So I really like that game a lot. And they're fantastic builders.
Can I just throw another game in there that you just made me think about? Because I used to be heavy into PlayStation. Sounds and Shapes. That game is cool too. It's basically like you play the whole level and it's just like a musical score, right? So each time you jump or interact or anything, it's just on beat. It's just really cool.
Have
I
you
was
ever
definitely
played?
more.
Have you ever played
Uh,
Rez for PlayStation 2?
I haven't,
Well,
but
it launched
it's
on
like,
PS2, but it's on PSN now.
yeah, we need these kind of games in Web3 because these are experiences that you never will see ever again. That's how the best way I could say it. They're very unique gameplay experiences. I think Res was like a 3D platformer where you could rotate the map or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like you couldn't get through this way, so you do a 3D rotation. Now you can get through this way. So it's like a very interesting
Yeah.
game.
It was all based off music and just had an amazing soundtrack. It was an on rails shooter, very futuristic, but the maps were very cool. The sound was incredible. The visuals very bright, colorful, geometric shapes. Like it's such a like that. That's
I was
like my old school.
Is it?
views.
It was a very interesting dev story too, because there was like a huge feud. But go ahead, Clouds.
I want to know about that, but no, I was
Yeah.
gonna say I'm definitely more of an Xbox Maxi because my favorite game in Sony was Little Big Planet. I thought that game was like one of the most creative like titles that I've ever played. It was really cool. But dude, I love that. I definitely got to check out that mobile game by by Avigashi because I've only tried Gashi Guardians and I think I tried Spirit Force.
Mhm.
Both great games. They were a lot of fun, but that sounds super interesting. I'm definitely gonna check that out. Now, before I throw it to my boy Missy, I do want to say for anybody that just joined us, make sure you guys are retweeting, liking the space, the stream, not the space, the stream, and commenting. We are going to be giving out a fake friends from Social Rising at the end of the show, so definitely stick around for that. Make sure you drop a comment saying hello. And also, we're here with Justin from One Kin. So if you want to learn more about them, make sure you guys follow them on socials at One Kin Labs on Twitter. I believe that's your ad for everything, right, Justin?
Yeah.
Yeah, One Kin Labs on all social, guys. Go check them out. Get involved. Make sure you're checking out the platform. It's really cool. But getting back to the show, man, Missy, what is one game that you have upcoming that you're super excited about?
I knew someone was gonna take Night Howls, so I instantly started thinking Night Crows. Fuck, Cloud, you got
Yeah.
me fucked up, man.
I'm gonna roast this man later on. Night Owl. Okay.
Cloud is always misnaming Night Crows, and now he rubbed it off on me. Fuck. I knew somebody was gonna say Night Crows because we're all looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So I have two games I'm actually looking forward to. I'm looking forward to playing Nine Heroes. I'm going to be playing that within the next week or so, and it's kind of like Overwatch. I feel like we've had a couple of games try to do like an Overwatch type of thing, but I think from what I've seen, this one actually looks like it might be the closest. But then they have like this weird cat mechanic, like the dev's like a fan of cats, which is kind of like ironically cool. Yeah, like basically if you're dying off, you actually morph into a cat and it allows you to like run away and like basically get away from whoever's trying to fuck you up. And apparently like they factored in like the feline style movement into the game, so you can like run on walls and like do all this shit. So I'm interested in seeing how that plays, because like I never would have thought Overwatch with cats, but here we are, right? And then the other game, it's a game I've been playing for some time. I'm really looking forward to the point where I can actually play the game and feel like I'm getting progression. And that for me is Seraph. It's a Diablo 2 clone. It has some Path of Exile components in it, and like it's very similar to Diablo 2, but when you actually play it, you see where it's different. And I've played Seraph all of December during their play test. I'm playing it now because they have like this super duper like sweaty gamer feedback play test kind of thing that they're doing right now. That they want like feedback. They're gonna be doing like an open alpha this summer, so I'm really looking forward to that. Because I fucking love Diablo, and I would like to be able to play the game without getting my level reset. So there's that.
Dude, yeah, I know you've been excited about Seraph, so that's really cool. So many
Is
games
Seraph the
too
one
are upcoming.
that's like Diablo, but like has like guns? Like
No, I think
No.
that's Crystals of Neramoons.
okay,
Yeah,
But it does look like Diablo, Seraph. It's kind
Yeah.
of like that top-down look too.
I'll send you
very
the
dark.
link after.
Yes,
I'll send you the
please.
link after the call. It's literally like pretty much a Diablo clone when you first look at it. Like they have the Necromancer class, Barbarian, Sorcerer. It's the core four like Valkyrie.
Nice.
They have a Druid coming out soon. The only two classes that I haven't seen from Diablo 2 are the Paladin and the Assassin. So I'm wondering if they're gonna like complete the whole clone and just bring those two classes in, or if they're just gonna cut us off after the Druid.
Hey, show some love to Diablo 3 monks too.
Yeah, Diablo 3 monks were fucking cool, and then like the Paladin, I forget the actual name of it because it wasn't a Paladin, but the Paladin type character that they brought into Diablo 3 was also cool as shit. Yeah,
Dude, I feel like you and Justin just needs a whole episode, just the two of you guys, just to dissect MMOs,
For
RPGs,
real.
and just really go deep dive into it. Because you guys are talking classes. I never got that experience with Diablo. Honestly, I never really got the chance to really explore MMOs like you guys did, but it sounds really intriguing and really cool. I do like class progression and stuff like that. So anything that has that style, that's why I really enjoy Skyrim. Because Skyrim has that really cool life tree progression that you can choose different things. So I like that type of stuff. So
Oh
really
man,
cool.
I got to get you hooked on like Final Fantasy Tactics and let you just micromanage the hell out of a group of characters.
Yeah, I love Final Fantasy, so I'll do well in that.
Yeah.
But man, again, so many games, really cool games coming. For me, I have a couple as well. I am really, really excited to get my hands on Chronos Worlds. They're finally coming with their new beta, and they did some awesome optimization to the game and updates. They went from a 2D to a 3D. I think it's gonna be really freaking cool. And I got to test that game last year, and it was a fun experience at the current stages. Yes, what's up? How do
2D to 3D meaning like perspective or just graphics?
I think graphics wise, there's still that
Okay.
platform like like
Okay.
when the screen moves forward and stuff like that. But I think they did mention that when they came on boss battles. But anyways, regardless, I'm super excited for it because again, like I said, in early stages, it was a really, really fun experience. And I think they did a lot of things right. So super hyped to play that with you guys and get our hands on it. The other game I'm super excited for is Hashiverse. They're actually coming out with their version of the iOS. I've been waiting to play their survival game on mobile, so we'll finally be able to do that with iOS coming in like a week, I think. And then they also have a PvP experience coming up in like a few weeks after this. So you know us, anything that's PvP, we're all about it, baby. We got to get those wins. So super hype, man. A lot of games are
we ready
upcoming.
to talk some shit and fuck each other up. Let's go.
You already know, bro. Like we're gonna be talking shit for at least 2 weeks. So it's gonna be fun. It's always fun when we're doing some PvP action. But yeah, man, definitely check out all those titles, guys. Anyone that's here listening, I definitely recommend all the titles that were brought up. I feel like they're gonna be great experiences. I think the first one that's upcoming is Night Crow, so looking super forward to that. I hope it doesn't have the same out of run style that Merv 4 has, but we will see. All right, so I think we're good to close it out here, guys. We're up to the hour. I want to be respectful of Justin's time too. Thank you so much, man, for coming on the show and hanging
Absolutely.
out with us. It's always a pleasure to catch up with you. But we like to close the show with our closing thoughts for the week. Justin, I'm gonna start with you, man. You have the floor. Let the people know what you want them to know about OneKin and anything you have upcoming, really.
Yeah. Go hit the Twitter at OneKin Labs. There's a link there. Go sign up for the beta. We'll get you in as quickly as we possibly can. If there's a game out there that you want to help, if there's a game out there that you want to help that grow that community for them, with them, part of them, like tag us. We're always checking our Twitter. We're always checking our tags. I'm always willing to help out great publishers in the space. And on your guys' side, thank you for what you guys do on a daily basis. It's really appreciated. It's always fun. I always love watching you guys create content. And not, and that goes for all content creators, but I love you guys a lot as well. And just keep up the hard work. We're getting there, boys. We're getting there. There's more great games coming. More people are starting to pay attention to the titles that are coming out, because they're in a great place. They're either beautiful looking or they're just fun as hell to play, and that's going to help bring in all those users into Web3, and then it's a whole new ball game. So I appreciate what you guys do on a regular basis, and always here for you guys if you guys ever need anything. And thanks for having me on. I feel very honored and privileged to get to hang out with you cats.
No, man, thank you so much for the flowers, man. Like I said, it's an absolute pleasure having you here with us, and we would love to have you back as you guys continue to make updates to OneKin and Cash Up. Again, thank you so much for coming on and making up the time. Now, guys, before I pass it over to Missy and Hado for their closing thoughts, this is your last chance to enter the giveaway. Make sure you drop a comment saying what's up. Make sure you hit the like and the retweets. I'm about to put the wheel of name up before we end the show, and we're going to pick a winner for this fake friend NFT that we're giving out. So make sure you guys do that. But I'm going to pass it over to Hado. Hado, any closing thoughts before we end it?
Yeah, I also have a giveaway. There's a Wanderers NFT RAM or RAM giveaway that I'm going to be doing later today. So if you commented on this week's Astronaut or the previous week's Astronaut, you're going to be entered into that. So we'll do a little Twitter picker thingy for that, and good luck to everyone.
Just for some context, just in case you guys are new and you don't know what Astronaut is, that is a 30-minute review show that Hado does for games. He goes in there, gives his raw opinion about the experience. He plays for about 30 minutes or so into a game, and within that 30 minutes, he will say if he likes the game or not, and then he will give out some feedback on what needs to be improved or what is perfect about it, So definitely go check that out in his profile on X.
And we've actually expanded the envelope a little bit this season. We've gone into more in-depth reviews, so the old format that we did isn't really how we produce the show anymore. It's just going through games and just breaking them down into gameplay design, sound design, stuff like that. Very basic things that I enjoy and that I don't enjoy. And, I also provide solutions sometimes if it's too early. So
yes, sir. I think the last one you played was Ghost Simulator, right?
Yep.
That is funny, man. Go check it out. Fun. Go check out this man's experience in Ghost Simulator. I promise you, it is entertaining.
All right, like Doom? You like Skyrim? Play Ghost Simulator.
Yeah, Ghost Simulator has it all. All right, let's pass it over to Missy. Missy, your closing thoughts, my brother.
Closing thoughts, I got a couple. We're getting to that point in the space where people are getting thirsty, they're getting hungry, they're getting to that point that they want to cash in. Just remember, guys, we got a long journey ahead of us. Don't fuck it up. Don't have conviction, use your brain. Don't start pimping yourself out too early, to all my content creator friends. That's one. Two, if you listened to last week's episode and you made it this far into this episode, you're a champ. Thank you to all of the people that watch the show, our community. This wouldn't be possible without you guys. And if you heard last week's episode, you would know that I had a 1v1 against Jesus Martinez. Took that shit home, whooped that ass. You already know.
Go.
I already knew I had that shit in the bag, but I had to play humble pie. But now that I don't have to be humble, I whooped his ass, man. It was great.
Missy is 2-0 when it comes to 1v1s, man. The man is a menace when it comes to 1v1s. Did not challenge this man. Hado can say whatever he wants.
I didn't challenge him. He challenged me. First of all,
I was there as a witness. All right, no, but I love it, man.
And last thing, we have the new edition of the OG mag coming out tomorrow. We featured the Arbitrum ecosystem, and we got a few bangers in there. So shout out to Addis and Damien, who I work on that magazine with. I can't wait to drop it.
Ooh, I'm super excited for that one. I know it got pushed back a little bit, but it is coming up. So I'm super hyped to see it. I haven't even seen the whole magazine myself, guys. So I'm going to be right there with you, hands on in the experience and seeing this thing come out. But I do want to say I'm going to use my time as for my closing times real quick to give out some updates. If you joined this episode at the end, make sure you guys go check us out on Spotify. Everything is being uploaded there, so you will be able to catch all the full episodes in Spotify. That is for all of our shows, so you can catch up on the Catalyst Effect, Boss Battle, and Ask or Not is actually coming to Spotify as well. So make sure you guys catch us there and go show some love, man. Give us a 5-star rating. It helps with the algo. It pushes out the show. So we definitely appreciate you guys for always showing up and hanging out with us in these things. But without further ado, man, I say we pick out this winner and we close it up. It's been a great episode of the podcast. Justin, again, man, thank you so much for coming. We are super pumped for Onekin and super bullish on it, honestly. So, again, we're going to be involved with it. We're going to be checking out the titles in there. We're going to see how we can work with you guys further. So definitely we'll be in touch, man. But without further ado, guys, let me bring up this wheel of name and we'll roll it up to see who's going to win this fake friend NFT. Now, while I get this up, I did see some people asking about if we're going to have badges for the show. We are actually working on that. We do our badges through the Ref GG platform. I believe Missy and Damon are currently working on the prototypes design for it. We really want to do something really dope for you guys. And, all I'm going to say is similar to the bus battle one, if you've collected those, but I'm not saying more than
the
that.
preview right now? You want the preview right now? You want me to
I
drop
don't know,
the
man.
alpha?
I don't know, man. I think we should keep them hooked. I think we should keep the mystery
All
going for a
right,
little
all
bit.
right.
Next week episodes, guys, we'll give you guys a little sneak peek to the behind the scenes stuff, but it is gonna be dope. Let's go ahead and roll this wheel of name, man, and pick somebody to win this fake friend NFT. Let's see. We have in here some great people. Meprox, JRP, Dash Key. I hope I'm saying your name right, but I did see you in the comments. It was a new face, so definitely welcome to the show. Thank you for being here with
Yeah,
us.
Icy said if he wins, he's gonna just to give it to me. So
Oh, okay.
no,
I
I'm
love
kidding. I'm
I
kidding.
love Icy. Icy's so generous, man. He's the best.
He is.
All right, let's do it, man. Let's spin this wheel and see who wins. Oh, I guess.
Ain't no fucking way.
Hey, Icy won.
Hey, I see
Making-
one.
Making a generous donation to my friend Justin. Let's fucking go. No, Icy. We'll
Thanks,
be in
Icy.
touch, man. Hey, fair trade, man. One hoodie for an NFT. I say that's
Ooh,
equal
dude.
value. I'm just saying, I'm just
There-
trying to
there
mediate
might
this
be-
thing.
There might be better hoodies coming in the near future. But Icy knows that anytime I do swag, he's getting stuff. So
Hey, we may need to look at some Onekin Catalyst collabs when it comes to merch. I'm just saying that may be something cool. But Icy, we'll be in touch, man. We'll send you a DM to get you that fake friends into your wallet. Guys, this has been episode 20 of the Catalyst Effect. Again, thank you so much to everyone that came by. Thank you to Justin. Definitely make sure you guys check out Onekin Labs on all social. Check out the Catalyst OG on all social. Make sure you guys are joining our Discord to keep up track with events and things that we have coming up. And on to the next one. We'll see you next Sunday. Peace.
Peace.
thanks, guys.